I wanted to take a minute today at the beginning of the podcast and say thank you to our sponsor, Huber Engineered Woods. Huber has actually been a sponsor of the podcast since 2020 when we decided to start this little endeavor. Without our sponsors, this content is probably not something that happens. But I think the best part about having Huber as a partner on this is it's an incredibly authentic alignment. Peter, Steve, and I all use Huber Woods. I've been using Advantech Subfloor for coming on probably 21 years now. I've been using Zip System and Zip System with the insulation on the back, the Zip R, since 2013. It's a system that I believe in. That systems approach where things play well together. They have design parameters that allow you to use their system for what you're working on. It works. Their tech support's there. Their knowledge is there. I've never had an issue with their product, and it's a great thing that they've decided to sponsor the podcast. So thank you, Huber Engineered Woods.
All right, on Build It Podcast, we are back for the attack. Peter, Jake.
Yep. Ready to flail away. Flail.
Such a bad
that sentence was him flailing away.
Yeah. Flailing away.
I remember my first time talking.
Isn't that poetry when you embody the idea in the words?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Not poetry?
All right. So, today's conversation, we're going to expand on soil foundations and roof questions.
That's pretty cool.
This is coming in from, I don't know who, but it is a Q&A. Came in, one of our million listeners decided to write in and writes, Steve and the other guys.
That's not what it says. I can see it from here, but we'll let it slide.
I've seen and heard you talk about various types of foundations, precast ICFs to the no slab.
Mm-hmm.
Where I live now, our soil tends to have a lot of expansive clay. Move. That's one option.
Mount Marillenite.
Since you guys are up on building tech, I was wondering your views on good ways to build on this stuff. I mean, the projects that we have with clay, we get soil testing done, and then the engineer basically designs the foundation system. It's one of those systems, I think, that is, we have to rely on the engineer as much as I would want to do what I want to do. That's something that I just don't have an abundance of information on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
our dirt guy sitting across the table from us here, what is there a breaking point where we would define something as expansive? What is that point? Do you know?
Boy, now you're pushing me because that agronomy was a long time ago.
Agronomy.
That's why I call him a dirt guy. Virginia Tech would be disappointed in you.
Well, I think the type of clay that's most expansive is Mount Marillenite. That's the which
the fact that you're laughing at your own joke before you even explain.
Dr. Amos, when we asked Amos, A-M-O-S, Dr. Amos, when he asked us, when we asked him, like, is there a better name than Mount Marillenite? My memory is he said Tigger shit. That was what he called it. So when you're building on Tigger shit, which is an expansive soil, I only was involved at Building Science Corporation on two projects. One was, they're both out west, but one was slab on grade, where they did post-tension slabs in response to expansive soils. And then there were a whole bunch that had these crawl spaces beneath the basement. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, the two ways that I've done it.
Beneath?
There was
the two ways that I've done it. We did a project in Colorado where we did that. We had a crawl space underneath the basement.
And the function of that crawl space
is that those walls are they have that collapsible material, so that base that can basically.
Oh, so that was for the up and down. Interesting.
That one can actually move. The other one we did here in Texas had void material under a grade beam system.
Oh.
So
what kind of void material?
It's like it's not cardboard, but it looks like a pleated cardboard that can just move with
the movement.
So once it compresses, it's compressed.
Yeah, but I think it can go back out.
Okay.
Like an accordion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I am certainly not an expert on it.
I'm not either. That's why I'm asking.
Draw a rectangle with a triangle in it and call it void material. And that's, I mean,
And then he writes by other.
The contractor knows. Well, the contractor knows what he's doing because they've done it
in that area. But, so what's interesting is you can't fight this, is what it boils down to. Like you can't say, I'm going to beat the expansion and contraction by doing X. They're all about providing slack rather than trying to anchor it down.
Leeway. Or grace.
And I don't recall that there's anything specific on this topic in the Building America Solutions Center, but I am gonna check on that.
I don't think there was.
You brought up post-tension slab. I don't really think we've talked about post-tension slabs that much on the podcast. I think it would be advantageous that we just discuss a little bit what it is.
It just gives me a lot of anxiety, all that tension.
Should have seen
You're not allowed to do dad jokes in the beginning or the middle of a podcast. Even a
dad joke. I was just doing a little.
You were freewheeling?
That was a pun.
Yeah. But go ahead.
So, I mean, it is still a slab. But what is the difference between it and, say, something that I pour in my market where we put rebar down or a mesh down and then place the concrete and then walk away from it?
It gets jacked.
Yeah, that's your main. That's what happens, right? You
think I'm
crank
lying?
it.
You question me like I'm lying.
I was questioning your use of jacked. Like, what does that mean? We jacked the slab.
Have you ever? But not to be funny. Have you ever seen a post-tension slab get post-tensioned?
In video, I've not seen it in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've not seen it in person either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Cool.
It gets jacked.
Humble brag.
No, well, I'm just saying.
Weird flex.
And do you add the tension essentially with a nut and a screw?
So the one that I saw, they have the slab, when they put it in, there's these like plastic conical voids, and the rebar, or I don't think it's rebar, it's a cable.
Yeah.
And it just runs out like 2 foot past on both sides. So like you have this slab, it gets cured, you pull off the forms, and there's a bunch of these little cones, and there's that cable sticking out. So they go over to one side and they put like a double, it's like 2 halves of this conical, like toothed device. I don't know what.
A bite point.
Yeah, a bite point. So they put that on it, and that goes into the cone and really grips the bar on that side. And then on the other side, there's literally like these 2 arms that sit against the slab, and there's a machine that bites the cable but jacks out. So it puts it under a certain amount of tension, and then they put those 2 bite pieces there, and they release it, and it gets pulled into the cone on that side. So it's basically held in tension.
And I just said that you can't fight this. Is the post-tension slab a way of fighting the expansive soils? Is it like a raft?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the lesser evil expansive soil. Like, probably like anything. There's like the light expanse, the medium, and then there's the one that's the big problem. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if an element, my memory is that for the crawl spaces, but beneath a full basement, there was an element of removing enough soil so that you could put material in there that was soil that could take the slack and contraction and expansion, as opposed to being a device.
I think that's, again, I think it's to what degree are we solving for? So I think that can be on the lighter side. That can probably be a solution. You can pull a bunch of stuff out, put some stuff in. I mean, we're doing a project in Houston. Supposedly there's some expansive soils there. We're doing a 3 foot wide footing that's fully reinforced. We fully excavated everything out of there. So it's kind of a light expansion, if you will.
Got it.
So supposedly, like he doesn't believe the soil report or something there.
No, lied bastards. I'm just kidding.
We know that soil scientists are particularly devious. Yeah. It kind of goes with the territory.
They are.
They're in cahoots with the big concrete, really, and the post-tension slab world. That's why the soil scientists always say it's expansive. That way they can get in your pocket.
They get kickbacks from crazy.
All right. So
Follow the money, Pete. I mean, what do you?
I think we've
Do we really have to
We
explain
know
this to
the
you?
number of soil scientist billionaires there are in the world.
Wow. I can't believe he's going to try to deny conspiracy
It's always
for
gotta
somebody
be
that
about money and
was a-
profitability with you.
that remembers Kennedy being shot and them faking the moon landing. He sure is.
I think he remembers McKinley getting shot.
Oh man, you know
Lincoln.
what to do.
So when you woke up that morning, was it in the papers about Lincoln getting shot?
I have a really, really strong memory of where I was when President Kennedy was shot.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know why. I was
it
Dealey
Dealey Plaza?
Pardon me?
Was it Dealey Plaza?
I was hanging out in this book depository building on the 6th floor. This guy went running by me.
Did you just say a suppository?
Depository.
Oh, depository. Okay. Sorry.
Jeez. All right. I think we've expanded enough. on that
Okay.
one. All right. Onward. Roofs. And he
We
says
go from
roofs.
foundations to the roof.
Yeah, he says whatever. Roofs, whatever. I've read that radiant barrier doesn't make much of a difference when you have enough insulation. In Chicago or Boston, sure. But in Texas, we're mostly fighting heat. Doesn't radiant barrier, even a ventilated over roof, make sense than paying for R80 insulation?
So, do you remember the house that we went to in Houston?
Yes.
It was a high hat, black asphalt shingles. We were there in the middle of the afternoon.
165 degrees.
There was radiant sheathing in that attic. So the first thing is that it has to face an airspace because it's trying to deal with radiation, which is, energy moving through empty space. So that sheathing faces down into the attic space. And the idea is that
The radiant side of that sheathing faces down.
the reflective or the radiant side. But the key thing here is that it's not actually acting as a radiant barrier there because it's not reflecting the radiation. It's that when the shingles heat up and they heat up the sheathing, the shiny surface is a very low emitter. So it's kind of, radiant barriers work two ways. They either reflect the energy or after they've absorbed the energy, they have a very weak way of emitting. So there's always the same for low E in windows. It's that's kind of a radiant barrier, but there we call it a low E system as opposed to a reflective system. And that attic was still quite warm, but I think it would have been even warmer had it not had that radiant barrier. So when we talk about radiant barriers in cold climate, right? It's the same principle, but we're trying to keep the heat in by reflection as opposed to rejecting the sun solar energy. And one of the key things about this is that it's the shininess of the surface that gives it the low emission and high reflectivity. So you can't let anything get on it.
So I have to clean it.
Any little tiny film of anything greatly reduces the radiant or the low E aspect of the material.
So if it's on the underside of my roof decking in a hot climate, where does it wind up in a cold climate if I'm trying to do something different?
Well, it still ends up on the underside of the sheathing, facing down. The key here is that it kind of works in extreme environments of both and doesn't do very much in the middle.
Wow.
And
I mean, those were kind of tough questions that were just very, very specific to certain situations.
sure, but
Yeah.
sometimes those are really good questions.
Yeah.
I don't want to quite move away from it just yet, though. If you had to, and I know you're not going to want to answer this question, if you, Peter, had to say like, oh, there's a 2% bump in performance of that space if you use something like that. Or do I have to say, like, would Peter put radiant barrier on a new house that he's building for himself in climate zone 6? You're 6, right? don't.
Yeah, how much the benefit
one.
do you
I've
get?
never installed one.
I haven't either.
Well, we install them in basements with foil faced, right? With the foil facing out.
I'm installing insulation that happens to have foil facing on it in that instance.
Yeah. It's not with the intent that is.
And so I think your question is, are there environments where the impact of that is more than 10%, let's say?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair question. And I believe the answer is no. You're not going to get more performance than, even in the most extreme situation, than 10%. However, this is something that Oak Ridge National Lab did research on, a number of years ago. And I know there's a specific report in reference to, which climates you get the benefit. So we're going to have a good resource to go to for this one.
Okay. That's interesting. It's one of those things that I think is greatly misunderstood too.
The most interesting part about that attic is I took several photographs infrared up in that attic. And what pops out is that there's one place in the middle of the field where it goes from blue to bright red, meaning that spot is not doing any, radiant barrier impact. I'm thinking, what the heck? And I went back and checked the digital image. It's the URL code that's been stuck onto the reflective sheeting. And that's how, so all we did was put a little piece of paper tape with adhesive on it over that, and it completely destroyed the fact that it was no longer a shiny surface.
Yeah.
And it was like 50 degrees difference in temperature from the foil face around it, or the facing around it.
That's why I don't trust, shiny surfaces. But what I do trust is when someone finishes their question with, thanks, guys. And I actually really, really, really enjoy Steve's jokes.
Mm. Is he quoting?
There's only one really in that.
Okay, see, I can't trust you, Steve. You embellish.
That's not embellishing.
No?
He stuttered.
I saw him and I was just stuttering.
He stuttered.
And a little cool thing about this is when you're using an infrared camera and you're scanning across the surface of a wall, most of the surfaces you're seeing are about 0.9 emissivity, which you set on your infrared camera. When you go to a window, the emissivity is quite different. So one way to get the actual surface temperature is to take a piece of Scotch tape and put it on the window and let it equilibrate, right, in terms of that temperature.
And there's a word that we don't throw around often enough.
If you're going to buy that calendar, you may as well use them.
Wow.
But you have to be careful because when you rub it with your hand,
careful with equilibrating.
Warm it up. So
careful equilibrating.
You are, again, interrupting me in the middle of when I'm extemporaneously elaborating on the science behind this.
Yeah, don't try. It's embarrassing.
Apparently he bought a word of the day calendar that only has the letter E in it too.
Excellent.
Okay, next one.
Is there anything there about elixirs?
No.
Okay, because that was on my calendar.
Adding exterior insulation over stucco in climate zone 7.
Ooh,
hey guys,
stucco over 7.
Great approach. I love listening to Steve and sometimes you both of you on the podcast. It's great that you guys are changing and advising improved methodology, new building practices, which I feel are important, blah, blah, blah. And what are your thoughts on directing some attention to the veteran? Thank you, Steve. We know Jake's a hater, but that's okay.
None of that.
There is a lot of stock place that needs retrofits. So he's basically outlining, there's a lot of houses. We know there's a lot of houses that are built bad that need help.
Yep.
He's got a 1946, 1,300 square foot home, climate zone 7, up north of the border. Temperature swings 90 F to minus 30 F. That's 120 degree spectrum.
Wow.
Pretty wide.
Yeah.
He's building out the window boxes and applying external insulation. Mm-hmm. There is completely intact stucco with a relatively flat profile. Can I apply a liquid WRB to the stucco and hang 4 inches of GPS, then a rain screen, cement board siding, or does the stucco have to go on and then use a mechanical WRB? What's the best practice?
So can the stucco stay?
Yes.
And then we play over top of it.
What do we treat the stucco with, if we treat it at all?
So I think the assumption in this question is that we're going to do the dedicated water control layer at the face of the stucco.
Yeah.
Because I would say, I don't know if I would assume.
Yeah, because he's building out the window boxes. So there's your challenge, right? At the windows, it's out here, but everywhere else, it's 4 inches in.
So I'm thinking that if I'm going to add rigid insulation to the outside, is it possible that we can move the dedicated water control layer to the outside face of the rigid insulation, especially given the location of the windows?
Yeah. This is one of those where the question that I would ask is, so let's answer his question first, and then we'll talk about, is there an alternative to this? So,
yeah.
I mean,
Pete's approach works.
Which, say it
Let's
again,
insulate
please.
And then bring our WRB to the outside of that.
Okay. So if we're going to do that, then what do we put on the outside of the insulation?
So
Do we do 4 inches?
we don't know what the new cladding's going to be, correct?
He did. He said cement board siding.
Okay, cement board siding. So in that climate, and he doesn't really say how wet or dry the climate is. It's just about the temperature.
It's Winnipeg, Canada.
Okay, so there's enough liquid precipitation there that I would want to do a rain screen. So depending upon the type of rigid insulation he's going to use, he could just make the face of the rigid insulation his dedicated.
So instead of the 4 inches of GPS, whoever it is, if it has
it's GPS, sorry.
But if it has a foil face, right? Because doesn't Xterra?
Xterra has a facer that you can tape.
Oh, it's a GPS with an exterior.
Yes.
Interesting.
So then we could tape that, use that, put a rain screen on, put the cement board siding on, call it a day, integrate it to the window boxes, bring it back to the window, and seal it up.
I would think that would be the best approach. Now, is there something he could do that would be less expensive?
Insurance claim the house. Torture.
Burn it. Torch it.
Yeah. And I'm assuming he's got plenty of overhangs, or he's going to rebuild overhangs to maintain some there.
So 1946, 1,300 square feet. So 1,300, 20... What's 1,300 divided by 20? It's like 65.
Probably a single story.
Yeah, single story. It's probably 30 by 50 is 1,500. So 30 by 45.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get at what's the surface area.
Yeah.
So that's 45, 90, 120, 150 linear feet of wall space.
Not counting windows.
Not counting windows.
Yeah.
So yes, he's got a pretty big swing, 90F to 30F.
Yeah.
But that's not far off from, say, where you live, right? I mean, you might not get as cold.
Yeah.
You definitely get warm, but you might even get a little warmer. So you have the same spectrum. It's just slid down the scale.
I mean, it's not that far from me either. We get 106 to negative 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
can I just say, first of all, doing it from the outside.
Do it to me now. But I won't forget what I'm going to say.
Am I trying to exclude you?
No, you're trying to make him forget.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, that's all right. Go ahead. Were you saying something?
No, this conversation.
His point.
No, to congratulate him that doing serious thermal renovation is always way more effective on the outside. And in fact, easier to do because all the disruption is outside as opposed to inside. He's replacing the windows as part of this because that's always a huge decision. Like, if I'm going to spend all this money on the opaque wall.
I mean, it's a 1,300 square foot house. You're probably talking a dozen windows, maybe.
Right.
1946, it might be 8.
Yeah.
Right. But that now is the time to do that.
Sure.
So he's made a lot of really good decisions about this project. What he does not mention is airtightness. And so that's about a lot more than just the walls. In fact, we know that when we go after airtightness, it's top, bottom, shafts, walls last. So I would just make a comment there that I can't
What was
tell
your
you.
order of, say that again?
For air sealing, the order of priority is top, bottom, shafts, walls. Yep. And by the way, there's a great document on that. And Terry Brennan's one of the authors that was done under HUD. He's got a really good it's like a 20-page paper on this topic. I reference it all the time. But I can't tell you the number of questions we get on this podcast where they don't specifically talk about comprehensive air sealing and they don't mention blower door.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So he just jumps to, let's put 4 inches on. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we did something like just put 2 inches on, mm-hmm. and really concentrated on sealing it up, whether that 2 inches is 2 inches of Xterra, or if we put on a Zip R12 panel and screwed it to the outside.
I don't think he tells us whether the framing cavities, which are probably 2x4s, are empty. I'll bet
1946 in Winnipeg. They
From what I can tell, it is not balloon framing, which tells me the 1x5 fur on the second floor runs out, and most of the windows on both doors will be replaced. All the windows and doors are being replaced, and it's not balloon framing.
Yeah, I wouldn't question him at 4 inches because he probably has little to no cavity insulation.
Okay.
So, but that's a good part of the equation.
But the airtightness is probably just as important as the R value, if not more.
And in a house that tiny, if he does a good job air sealing, he's going to need some mechanical ventilation.
Yes.
Or a dog. That way he opens the door nonstop.
An older dog?
An older dog.
Okay. He says, appreciate any insight, Steve. Please keep up the jokes. It is why I constantly return to the Unbuilder podcast. Thanks, Kurt.
Can't wait to get you misread my email. Quit adding things.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
Okay.
There's a third question here. This is Cam. And he says, first off, love the podcast. Steve, do not stop the jokes. Keep them coming. Love them. Live for them. All right. So I've heard it's a bad idea to create a diaper. When you have 2 vapor or air barriers, but I think it's more vapor barriers, with material in between that, if it got wet, could mold or break down. However, in a lot of build show videos with Jake, Matt, and Steve, we see taped zip sheathing to the exterior with closed cell foam being used inside it. Doesn't that create a diaper? What am I missing?
So I want to make sure we're fully detailing this wall from inside to outside to do a vapor profile. Let's start on the outside. What's the cladding? Do we know?
Well, he just says a vapor barrier. That in this case, he did cite zip sheathing.
So we don't know what the cladding is.
No, and zip sheathing isn't a complete vapor barrier.
Right. So generally the term vapor barrier goes for class 1 vapor retarders, which is 0.1 perms or less. And that, the combined vapor permeability of the OSB and that polymer coating is somewhere in the 1 to 2 perms range. So that makes it a class 2, maybe even a very low level class 3.
Right.
And then to the interior of that, we have
closed cell foam.
Spray foam.
So I think he's worried about the zip sheathing rotting in between. But we talked about it before. What if we had like a polyiso on the outside and then a plywood and 2 inches of closed cell on the inside? So arguably a diaper.
Yes. And I would not say that's my preferred solution. I want that sheathing to be able to dry in one direction or the other. And it's funny because why don't we worry about the framing as much? First of all, they're spaced and they only have a face of 2 inches. They're also way more moisture tolerant than the OSB. So we generally worry a lot more about the sheathing because that's the condensing surface. It's not the condensing surface in this case because with closed cell foam, the first condensing surface is the interior face of the foam. But we've got to provide drying capacity to that sheathing because it's not going to dry the interior. So
I mean, I wouldn't do it anymore, but I probably have 10 houses out there that were framed with 2x8 closed cell plywood and 2 inches of polyiso on the outside. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing it and having a conversation with one of the best building scientists out there, not Joe, but the other guy. And and him telling me, he said, yes, I hear what you're saying, that it's a concern, but there's other concerns too.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a good roof overhang? Like, is the wall really going to get wet? Do you have a rain screen on it? And so we said yes to all of that. So my answer, Cam, from me is, it's kind of the level of risk, right? If I'm building a house, say on the shores, with a zero clearance roof system because it's modern,
Right.
and then I do that, yes, I'm scared as hell. But if I'm doing something in the woods in Tennessee with a 30-inch overhang, I'm probably not nearly as concerned.
I really like the idea that how much you worry about little to no drying potential in either direction is completely context. And the SIPS roof on our addition in Brattleboro were SIPS panels with ice and water shield because it was a 312 pitch right on top. That has no drying ability to the outside at all and little to the inside. But I built it. There's no roof penetrations. It's a pretty confined little roof. So context matters.
Yeah.
I think so. And he says, thanks, love the pod. Keep the jokes coming, Steve.
Not
please.
on there at all.
Cam.
He gets confused one Q&A to the next.
Cam, if you would like to write to questions at Unbuild It Podcast and retort all the false things that Steve just said, I will read verbatim.
Cam, I will give out your email address.
He doesn't have access to it. He doesn't pay any attention.
Anyways, you guys love movies.
Yep.
I do.
Have you guys seen the movie The Tracker?
No.
And that's a relatively new movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, me neither. But I've seen the trailer.
Nice. Good one.
Nice. Thanks, everyone.
And that's it. That is the end. Finney, no second joke, nothing. I'm done. Elvis has left the building. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
See ya.